We arrived 16 hours after the second tower fell. We boarded buses because obviously everything was grounded airwise. Even though we were a part of a federal team that went out there, nobody was flying, so we were forced to ride buses. We took 3 buses and 4 semis out there. I'm a technical information specialist, so part of my job is to oversee when the team goes out, who's going out, where they're going, when they come back, and then I'm also a search technician also. When I first heard about it, my dad called me. I'd just gotten off duty from the fire station, and he said, "Have you turned on TV?" And I said, "No." And he said, "You better turn on TV." And I saw the second plane hit. And I immediately thought, oh my God, what has happened? They hit me on the radio and said, "When can you be available?" So 16 hours later, after we left Indianapolis, we were there. When we first saw the smoke from the Twin Towers, we were probably 25 or 30 miles out. We'd already had radio communications between all the FEMA agencies, and they said, New York has just called for 50,000 body bags. And as we got closer and closer, then we knew this was going to be something massive, and it's something that was going to take a lot of time to mitigate. And the smoke just kept getting bigger and bigger, and then there was such chaos in New York because they lost 75% of their command staff, and when you lose that much of your command staff, it's chaos. And they lost all their radio communications because when the towers fell, the antenna was down. It was it's very hard to describe to someone who wasn't there what we saw. The analogy I use is when I talked to people when we came back, I said, imagine going to the edge of the Grand Canyon and seeing how dramatic and how massive that is. And then I was just to hold up a picture postcard and say, well, that's as dramatic as it is. What you saw on TV was that picture postcard. What we saw was like standing on the edge of the Grand Canyon. You have to remember that the debris pile was spread out over 16 acres and was 6 and 7 stories tall. Smoke, fire trucks crushed, police cars crushed. Probably the most haunting image that I remember is the faces of the New York City firefighters, because they were there feverishly digging, and you're trying to play pickup sticks with steel girders that weigh thousands and thousands of pounds. But the faces of the New York City firefighters, when they knew that everybody in there was probably dead. And we quickly learned within the first couple of days that this was going to be a recovery effort and not a rescue effort. Since 2001, I feel that we as a nation have become complacent about September 11th. For a lot of people, it's just another day. September 11th in 2001 was my Pearl Harbor. I now understand the veterans who were involved at Pearl Harbor. I understand the horror that they went through. And people don't think of December 7th as just another day, and September 11th should be held in the same reverence as December the 7th. 3,000 people died that day. 3,000 innocent people died that day. They should be remembered. And because Indiana was instrumental in becoming one of the first teams to be sent there, what better way to remember those people than to establish a permanent 9/11 memorial here in Indianapolis. The beams that we have been given through the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey are 22 foot in length. They weigh a little over 11,000 pounds each. They have literally had thousands of requests. What I did was petition the Port Authority along with letters from the mayor of Indianapolis, the fire chief and police chief, and 3 congressmen. Those were all included in my packet that I sent to New York, and they clearly were, I think, impressed with the fact that I had a lot of local support here. State police are going to escort us all the way in from the state line. We've got overpasses. People are going to be on overpasses with flags, and and that's the same thing that happened to us when we came back from New York initially. When we hit the state line, there was a huge sign saying, "Welcome back, INTF-1, God bless." And there wasn't a dry eye on the bus. And as you can, I still get goosebumps talking about it. But if it's good weather, this could be the biggest escort We've even heard a radio or TV station from Chicago is flying a helicopter down to videotape it. So I'm scared, but I'm hopeful because I think this is going to be something very special, and I'm not sure downtown Indy is ready for this either. We're going to come in off of I-70 to 65 North and then hit the Meridian, Pennsylvania Street exit, go south on Pennsylvania to the War Memorial, and that's where we're actually going to have the welcoming home party. The mayor has agreed to be there, and the fire chief and the police chief. I've been taking care of people on and off my career for 30 years, and I'm not used to being an emotional kind of guy because you can't do that when you're in my profession, but I'm sure there will be a few tears because it's so important to me to do this.